Hey, this is Reuven Lerner. Welcome back to my Python Standard Library video explainer series. And this time we're going to talk about how to create dictionaries. And that might seem like a weird sort of thing to do because we create dictionaries all the time, but there are actually a bunch of different ways that you can do it. And knowing how to do it based on different inputs can actually be helpful. So the first way to create a dictionary is to use, of course, curly braces. I can say D equals curly braces, and now I've created an empty dictionary. Or I can create one with things. I can say D equals A1, B2, C3. And now I've created a dictionary with 3 key value pairs in which the keys are going to be the strings A, B, and C. And the values are going to be the numbers 1, 2, and 3. So if I say, what are the D keys? We're going to get back the keys, and D values, we're going to get the values. Excellent. By the way, notice, and we'll talk about this later in the video series, but these dict keys and dict values objects are not exactly lists. They sort of look like lists, and we can kind of sort of almost use them like lists, but they're not lists. They're actually, well, keys and values objects. Okay. So you can always create a dictionary just with curly braces, just like that, and you pass whatever names and values you want. Notice that the names can actually be any hashable type. That means that, well, strings, integers, booleans, none if you really want, tuples so long as the tuples only contain hashable items themselves. So you can't say, like, use a list as a dictionary key. Okay, well, now that I've created my dictionary, right, we see it here, very good. What are some other ways that we can create dictionaries? Well, I can actually, if I can use stir to create strings, and I can use int to create ints, and I can use list to create lists, you can assume that I can use dict to create a dictionary. And sure enough, I get back an empty dictionary. It so happens that I saw some article a few years ago where it says very clearly that calling dict to get a new dictionary is much slower than using curly braces, so you really shouldn't do this. But there are times when you want to do it because if you have some other inputs, then you might want to use them to create a dictionary. So for example, what if you say here, like my data equals, and we'll have a list of tuples here, A1 and B2 and C3. And if this looks like, well, I've got a bunch of pairs, name and value pairs, you are right. But this is, of course, a list of tuples. But if I say dict of my data, there we go. Dict will take that list of tuples, 2-element tuples, and it'll turn that into a dictionary. Of course, it doesn't change the original list. It's just going to return a new dictionary. So I can say D equals dict of my data. Now, if we look at D, it's defined just as before. And this can be really, really useful if you've got existing data already in this sort of format. You just want to turn it into a new dictionary. Another way I can create a dictionary is I can say here, dict of A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals 3. And here we're taking advantage of KWARGs or kwargs, the star double splat there in many functions. And so basically what we're doing here is we're saying, please assign A to 1, B to 2, C to 3, and that will work just fine. There is, however, a subtle difference between the ways that we're creating these things here. So if I were to go back and create my data once again, I can also say here, for example, 5 is equal to, I don't know, let's say 4. And so when we look at the dictionary, 5 colon, it should be a comma there, right? So I've created now a dictionary with 4 key value pairs, right? And in this particular case, the key is the string 5, and the value is the value 4. I can even say that's just the integer 5, and that will work fine as well, because integers are perfectly valid as dictionary keys. What if I try to do that using this syntax? It won't work. If I say here, for example, 5 equals 4, it won't allow for it. It says keyword can't be an expression. You can't use a number in the expression there. Well, okay, what if I say here, like, let's just do a string because I want to avoid that. Yeah, but it's already turning things into strings. It's already turning A, B, and C into strings. It knows that's to turn them into strings, but it's not going to do that. So here we're going to once again get the keyword can't be an expression error. So if you want to create a dictionary whose keys are possibly interpreted as Python keywords or integers, then you can't do that using this name value, A equals 1, B equals 2 sort of syntax. But you can do it here because we're assuming that everything is already hashable, is already as you would want it to be in the dictionary for keys. So there are a few different ways to create dictionaries in Python. The best and sort of oldest holdout is, of course, just using curly braces, but you should know about the other ways as well because they are often useful as well. All right, that's it for this time on the video explainer. Next time, more Python dictionary methods.